Welcome to Module 3. In Lesson 1, we're going to return to our multiplication strategies, and we're going to use the commutativity property to work with facts involving 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. We're going to also start to use a multiplication grid and introduce you to that so you can sort of see what facts you know and see what facts you still need to learn, and also see how that property of commutativity sort of shows you that you actually probably know more facts than you think you do. So let's get started. I'm actually going to share the problem set with you first. I want you to, we'll already have talked about this in class, but I want to show you again so you understand exactly how to use this tool because it's something that we'll look at a lot this year. So on my screen here, you're going to see this multiplication grid. And on the top, you see 1 to 10. And on the side, you also see 1 to 10. And so the way this works is that this box right here that I'm hovering over, that shows 1 times 1. So if I drag down from this row, this column rather, and then across from this column, whatever goes in this box is the result of 1 times 1. And then if I go one box below that, that one is in the first column and the second row, so 1 times 2 right there. For example, if I go over here and I do 8 times 3, so that's in the 8th column, and 1, 2, 3, I would find that solution right there. And so often you'll see usually you'll see these fully filled in. We have one on our strategy wall in school, and I can even give you individual ones to help at some point here this year. But today your job is to, or at least in class, was to fill this in independently. And when you do that, you're going to notice that you know the ones, because 1 times anything is itself. So like 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1,000 is 1,000. So you'll be able to fill those in rather easily. And that's going to not only fill in this first column, because those are all ones facts, but it's also going to fill in this first row. So you've already filled in all of those, the top row and the first column. Most of you, all of you really, have worked really hard on your twos and know most of those as well. So you'll be able to fill in the second column and the second row. And then in module 1, we worked with our threes facts, our fours facts, our fives facts, and our tens facts. So you might not know all of them, you know, within 1 or 2 seconds, but you've been exposed to them, so you know more than you probably think, and you could probably fill in a lot of those pretty quickly either. And so what that's going to leave us with, once you've done all of the facts that you know, really the ones we haven't worked with at all this year is going to be from 6 times 6 down to 6 times 9 and over to 6 times 9. So like this, there's 16 facts right in this where I'm highlighting right here that we haven't really been introduced to yet. And that's out of 100, not that much. So those are the 16 facts that over the course of this module, those are the ones we're really going to focus on. Um, Anything involving 6, 7s, 8s, or 9s. But again, you know a lot of your 6, 7s, 8s, 9s because for example, if you know 2 times 6, then you also know 6 times 2. So that's where the property of commutativity comes in here, is that if you know 2 times 6, then you already know one of your 6 facts as well. So you know 1 times 6, so you know 6 times 1. You know 2 times 6, so you know 6 times 2. Many of you know 3 times 6, so you also know 6 times 3. So you've already built up a pretty good set of fluency, or a good set of knowledge and fluency with these facts just by doing them in other fact families. So working with your ones and your twos, and many of you your threes, and some of you even your fours now, you have already started to learn your 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. And so that is the focus here of this module. It's certainly the focus of this lesson. And we will continue to sort of build your knowledge base, and we'll continue to build uh, sort of some fact fluency for you. But I want you to know that you do know more than you probably think. When you look at this chart and there's 100 spots on it, that might be a little intimidating. You might say, "There's no way I know 100 multiplication facts. I don't see how I can know all that much." But I'm here to tell you that you do know a bunch of that already because we've worked on a bunch of it together, and we know this property that helps us identify facts that we don't think we know using ones that we know we know. Um, so that's sort of how the multiplication chart works. And again, we're going to have a lot of practice with this, but this is your first exposure to it. Um, the goal here is to go through and fill in all the ones you know, and then work on the ones that you don't. And so we'll have done that in class. And while we're here, I want to show you this problem, part B. And I'm only showing you this really, well, it's important on its own, but it's also in the homework a lot. So I want you to um, have some exposure to it here. It says complete the chart. Each bag contains 7 apples. So if there are, what this is saying is the top thing is like there's 2 bags. Each of those bags have 7 apples. So 2 times 7 is 14. And then you'd say, well, if there's a total of 21 apples and each bag has 7, there must be 3 bags. And so this is just a different way to work on your fact fluency. Um, it might be a little confusing to some, like why are they asking me this way rather than just asking me what 2 times 7 is. But again, it's putting it in a word problem sort of situation where you need to figure out um, uh, sort of what you take the parts of the problem and figure out what needs to be multiplied together. And so you're working on your facts while you're also doing a little bit of problem solving. And in a sort of semi-real world situation too. We try to make your math applicable, meaning that we put you in situations to do math that might uh, occur in real life. There may be a day where you're counting things. You have 2 bags with 7 things in them, and then you'll know to multiply in that situation. Um, and again, that is really the key focus here. I'm going to switch to my whiteboard here for just a moment. And again, show you this property here that we're talking about with the multiplication chart. I'm not going to draw the whole thing, but I am going to draw part of it just so you can see how it works. This is a rushed drawing. It's certainly not perfect. Oh, we need another thing over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is like a mini version. All right, there we go. Very poorly drawn, but let's go through and fill this out just so you can see how you're going to do the bigger version. So again, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2. So again, I take this number and I multiply it by this number is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. And when you're doing this on the paper, often you'll see like kids take their paper and they'll go like across with one finger and down with the other finger and sort of line them up, and they'll do it that way. 1 times 4 is 4. So again, and then 1 times 5 is 5. Those are straightforward. We already know those. We could do them on the top here too. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. And now we do our 2's facts. 2 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. Whoops, I wrote 2 times 2 is 4, not 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 5 is 10. See, even your teacher makes mistakes. I make plenty of them on these videos. It's important to know that it's okay to make a mistake. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, which means 4 times 3 is also 12. 4 times 4 is 16. I forgot a 3. 3 times 5 is 15, which means 5 times 3 is also 15. That's that property commutativity right there. I just said 5 times 3 equals 15, and that allowed me to fill in this one. And then I also said 3 times 5 equals 15, and that allowed me to fill in that one. So they're the same fact, just turned around. So if you know one of them, you know the other. 4 times 5 is 20. And now that helps me. I'm going to box that in a different color for you. Right, that 20 showed 4 rows of 5 equals 20. But then over here, I have 5 rows of 4, and that's also 20. So the fact that I knew that one helped me identify another one. And then 5 times 5 is 25. And so that's the point of this lesson, is using what we've learned in the first module and through our fluency practice and applying it to a new set of facts. So again, if we know what um, uh, 3 times 7 is, then we also know what 7 times 3 is. So we already know one of our 7 facts as well, even though we haven't worked on them yet, which is pretty cool. And that's how this property really helps us know more facts than we've actually studied. Because the property commutativity really just allows us to take a lot of stuff that we already know and apply it in sort of new situations with new fact families. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to be back on multiplication and division strategies. You guys did awesome with this in the first module, and I can't wait to continue to work on these strategies with you when we work on our facts involving 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, and multiples of 10 as we really get into things.